Oh, really? Let's check this out, shall we? Should be very interesting.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. Today we have a new look at Deadpool and Wolverine provided by Entertainment Weekly. We also have a full article by Entertainment Weekly talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, including something that not a lot of us really thought. They state that it was actually Hugh Jackman who made the call to Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy to appear in Deadpool and Wolverine, otherwise known as Deadpool 3 at the time, and it wasn't actually Ryan Reynolds pestering Hugh Jackman like everybody thought it was to get him to return as Wolverine in a Deadpool film. Although
he had something left in the tank. He wanted to test himself out as something interesting.
of course, we know that that happened. Ryan Reynolds was pestering Hugh Jackman about appearing in a Deadpool film. However, it appears that at some point in time, Ryan Reynolds just accepted the fact that Hugh Jackman was done with playing Wolverine. And kind of just accepted that he wasn't going to get Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in a Deadpool film. And him and Sean Levy were working on Deadpool 3 since they started together back in 2022's Atom Project. And according to this article, which of course we'll break down in its entirety, the entire movie completely changed. The entire story that they had for Deadpool 3 completely changed once they got that call from Hugh Jackman.
Really?
And from what we've heard recently, thanks to some other articles that have come out, this one from Variety, we've heard that Kevin Feige originally told Hugh Jackman not to return, and that Ryan Reynolds pitched Kevin Feige over 25 different ideas for the next Deadpool film. So a lot to break down today with this new Entertainment Weekly article. They talk about Hugh Jackman returning, and they talk about how the cameos were included in Deadpool and Wolverine, and I think a lot of you will be really excited to hear what they have to say. And those who are on the fence about a lot of cameos appearing in Deadpool Wolverine, I think this will give you a little bit of ease. So let's dive into it, and if you're new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. So this Entertainment Weekly article is titled Deadpool and Wolverine Changed Radically Once Hugh Jackman Came Aboard, with the subtitle, Director Sean Levy tells EW he and Ryan Reynolds originally had ideas that were more sequely to the first two Deadpools. Now, side note, if you have not heard, director Sean Levy has stated that this is not Deadpool 3. This isn't really much of a sequel to Deadpool 2. Deadpool and Wolverine is really its own separate movie, which is also really cool in itself since it is now taking...
Reminds me of how Kevin Smith was talking about how Batman v Superman is literally Man of Steel 2. And he was explaining how it really is. Like, it was something that had to do with the business doings of it and everything. I was like, interesting. Because they were trying to say it wasn't Man of Steel 2. But it did feel like it was Man of Steel 2. I mean, it started right after Man of Steel. You know what I mean? Pretty much. So, interesting. So, this is not Deadpool 3.
Place in the MCU. But with this article comes this newly released brand new photo of Deadpool and Wolverine in the TVA. Now, what's really interesting about this scene right here is that it looks like it is before they fight each other in the void. So based off of what we've seen from the trailers, one, we know that, of course, they fight each other, and Hugh Jackman's suit eventually gets bullet holes in it, katana holes in it. Basically, it doesn't look brand new like this. Now, what we've heard from some insiders is that Hugh Jackman actually has an emotional attachment to the suit that he is wearing. Because since he is in the TVA, I would like to...
By the way, I just want to say something that just made me think of this. I have always hated how his bone claws look in this. I mean, in the whole, you know, they look ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Then once they get coated with metal, now all of a sudden they look like blades. No, it's not how it works. At least, and that's not how it should work. I hated his bone claws. The bone claws never worked for me. I remember them looking different in the comics, and I was like, those are his bone claws. God, no. Anyway, I just had to get that off my chest.
to say that TVA simply gave him an outfit like they did Deadpool, but according to the insider My Time to Shine Hello, who stated a while ago, Hugh Jackman will have an emotional attachment to this suit because of what happened in his universe, and thanks to the trailers, we know that everybody pretty much died in his universe. So I don't think the TVA gave him this outfit. I think Deadpool went to his specific timeline and picked him out of the timeline when he was wearing the suit. But again, this is perfectly clean, perfectly intact, no holes in it, so this is before they fight. So eventually, they're going to go to the Void, and it seems like Wolverine is just going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not actually helping you. You may have kidnapped me from my timeline, and you need my help and whatever, but I'm not going to do that. And that's where Deadpool starts to chirp at him, and eventually the two of them end up fighting, and then eventually the two of them end up seeing Cassandra Nova's base. I'm sure they see her, realize that she's a threat to the entire multiverse, and then realize they have to team up together to defeat her. Now, the article starts off by stating, now for the first time since 2009's X-Men...
There's a clip circulating. I don't know what it came from, but there's a clip circulating where they're walking together and they see Ant-Man, and he breaks the fourth wall, and he's like, wow, Paul Rudd finally aged. And I was like, where'd this come from? I'd like to do a reaction to the full thing.
X-Men Origins Wolverine. Reynolds and Jackman are sharing the screen as their characters from Marvel Comics, Deadpool and Wolverine, hence the straightforward title of the film. This is also the first time both figures are bringing their R-rated antics to Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe of the Avengers, and I like how they state that. They say rated R, and then they state Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe, not Marvel Studios' Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they specifically say Disney after stating rated R. Definitely not something the world is used to, but they state, after hanging up his katanas and red leather suit, Wade Wilson is prepared to live the simple life. But when the Time Variance Authority, the multiverse organization dedicated to protecting the sacred timeline, plucks him out of his reality, Wade realizes he still has a greater purpose. It continues, appearing in 9 X-Men films already as the adamantium-clawed berserker, Jackman seemed content to retire the character after 2017's Logan, which offered a finite ending to his story. Though fans, including Ryan Reynolds, always held out hope of seeing Wade and Logan together for a proper film after Origins, which even the actors poke fun of on occasion. Sean Levy says, everyone assumed that Hugh's return was the result of me or Ryan pestering or pitching him relentlessly, but even more miraculously, this was the result of a Hugh Jackman epiphany. He wanted to do this team-up of Logan and Deadpool, and so it really was a sky-opening gift from the heavens type of phone call that changed everything. So I think this is...
What I tell you?
Everybody
he said he had something else in the tank. He had an itch that he had to scratch. Look at that. I told you guys never say never. You used to always tell me, no, man, he said he's done. I told you never say never. I told y'all.
That it was going to be, and there is more of this article that will break down. But when Hugh Jackman was confirmed to return for Deadpool and Wolverine, or Deadpool 3 that we knew at the time, I definitely thought it was because Ryan Reynolds just absolutely bugged the crap out of him. He started pitching him, hey, it's the MCU now, it's the MCU, you have to join the MCU, you have to be in the next Deadpool film. I thought that that's how it went down until he eventually said yes, but no, actually, Hugh Jackman was very interested himself in joining the MCU.
You pause it right there.
Let
Good
me know what
Lord.
you think about that, because that is not something that I predicted, although we have heard at various points in time that the original X-Men cast feel like they missed out on being a part of the MCU and wish they had a chance to do that. Well, it now seems like with Deadpool and Wolverine and Avengers Secret Wars, they'll all have that chance, which is really, really awesome. But the article
I forgot about Kitty Pryde.
Wolverine finds a version of Logan who
that ship has sailed.
The entire world, as Mr. Paradox intones in the film's trailers. And Sean Levy states, this is still Wade dealing with certain issues, but it's very much two characters, two heroes, and two haunted men hoisted together in a shared journey. And here's where they go on to talk about the cameos. They state, there are a number of other characters who surround both Wade and Logan on their odyssey. Some we know, some we don't, at least not officially, meaning they haven't officially revealed the cameos yet. They continue. Emmy nominee Emma Corrin arrives on the scene as Cassandra Nova, an immensely powerful psychic who's also sort of, but not quite, the twin sister of Professor Charles Xavier, the leader of the X-Men as portrayed in the past films by both Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy. A bunch of familiar faces from the past two Deadpool movies also make comebacks. Vanessa, Blind Al, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Yukio, Colossus, and I love how they state this next part, Peter/Sugar Bear, Doppender, and Shatterstar. Then there are those roles that have been leaked either in the press or by paparazzi, which Levy declines to comment on. One name he does acknowledge is Aaron Stanford, who's back as the fire-wielding mutant Pyro after playing the character in 2003's X2 and 2006's X-Men The Last Stand. But basically, Sean Levy goes on to confirm, yeah, there are a lot of cameos, and why they are actually in the film. He states, I'll say we didn't start off with a wish list. From the day we started devising this Deadpool and Wolverine story, we let the story dictate the characters, not the other way around. Aaron and his return as Pyro was an outgrowth of that, and that applies to pretty much all the characters you'll see in this movie. So that should give fans a lot of ease. For those who are worried that this is just going to be a cameo fest and the cameos are included for no other reason
Let me tell you something. If you do it right, I wouldn't have cared if it was just a cameo fest. It's all how you do it.
all besides to simply have them in the film for the cameo effect. It seems like that was not the case at all, and every cameo in this movie is going to be pretty specific. Not put in there just to be put in there, but to have a very specific purpose for the overall story, which I think is fantastic. After all, it is a multiverse story. A lot is happening, so story-wise, it does make sense to have some cameos in this film, and it sounds like we're in for some pretty good treats here. But also for the fans who were worried that the cameos are going to take away from the story of Deadpool and Wolverine, the article ends by stating, despite the massive ensemble package...
Speaking of story, I can't believe there are actually people out there that were talking about that the Superman suit didn't really matter. It's more about the story. Excuse me. When you're making a movie, how it looks is a major part of the movie. How the characters look, your settings, your special effects, your lighting, everything that is the look. After all, half of it is watching. It's major. How something looks is major. That is the reason why so much money and time goes into product design. Okay? That rhymed, did you play it again? Bars. Okay? It matters how the suit looks. It's extremely important. It's as important as the story. Okay? Because the story, it's important. I don't want to go off on a rant.
Into this multiverse F-bomb dropping, fourth wall shattering extravaganza, the filmmaker emphasizes this is a true two-hander between Reynolds and Jackman. He states, as a two-hander, oil and water story, this movie draws inspiration from the great films in the genre. That means everything from Midnight.
Mine's a two-hander.
Run in 48 Hours to Rain Man and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. These quests that pair a duo of mismatched characters, the joy we get as an audience watching that relationship evolve. And that is the end of the article. And I don't know about you, but this article definitely gets me even more pumped for Deadpool and Wolverine. And I'm really glad that the cameos are placed in there strategically. And they are story-driven, not simply fans wanting to see cameos in Marvel movies driven. So, getting more and more pumped for Deadpool and Wolverine every single week, every single day. And, not to mention, in a couple of days from now, the Empire Magazine article comes out. So, be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that breakdown as well. In the meantime, let me know what you think about this Entertainment Weekly article in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on Deadpool and Wolverine and the MCU. And if you subscribe and leave a comment, you're entered in our giveaway.
Great job, Wonder, as usual. Very interesting. Very interesting. I can't wait till this comes out. I'm very I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm not as cautious as you might think. Like I'm thinking that this is going to be the one that, they don't gamble with. That's what I'm thinking. Get over to the Cosmic Wonder, subscribe, tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. If you enjoyed my reaction and thoughts, hit the like button, subscribe, and share.